Hello, everybody. This is your host, Christian, and today we have Ina. Ina, welcome to the Ledger Show.
Christian, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Nice to meet you. So you recently joined Infarm. What is your role there?
I very recently joined Infarm 3 months ago. I work as head of finance operation right now, which covers the area of account payable and account receivable within the accounting team.
Okay. And before that, if I'm not mistaken, you were part of Gorilla?
Yes. So if I go back a little bit before, my career starts at working in an accounting offices. So we were doing different accounting offers, supplies for different companies. And then I switched into program management. So I was working on the other side and designing programs to help and support small and medium enterprises with a special focus on innovation and startups. So early stage and scale up startup. And then it felt like from being from the other side and thinking what startups and doing studies what startups will need, then I jumped into actually working in startups. So I started working at Gorillas in October 21 as a group accounting manager, which was very exciting, and Gorillas is an exceptional case, an exceptional team to work with. And then I changed and joined Infarm last November.
Okay. Is your current role completely different from the one you had before at Gorilla?
No, because as you know, in startups you need to do many things. So it is another part. So there I was responsible for the reconciliation and the end use of information that came actually from the AP and AR. And here I am responsible for actually the input. So actually booking the information from AP and AR, which I think it makes, in my knowledge, makes it more important that we have all the information very accurate. Because I know how it ends up, so I know how much work it is in the end to actually change and fix everything.
I see. What is the role of finance operations at Infarm?
I think the role of finance operation is the same in all the companies. So it's actually doing the daily operations from a business side. So basically what we do is we validate all the invoices that we receive. We book them in an accurate way in a bookkeeping, so we know the right expenses and the right position of the company, and then we process them for payment. And also a very important part of our job is actually the relationship with the suppliers, which you need them, of course, because they are your partners. And on the other side, we are also responsible for the revenue. So we actually create invoices and we send them to the customer, and we make sure the information is accurate and everything is according to the sales order and the delivery slips, and also for the collection of the money. So if you see it, it's basically the core of the financials. So the day to day, without let's say it like this, without us, it's going to be difficult to do a business.
Yeah, I was talking with a finance, like a VP of finance the other day, and he used this term like finance operation are the revenue guardians.
Yeah, actually they are, yes, and it has a different pace. If you are an accountant, for example, you have a month streamline of work. So the volume of work changes with the month and close and the normal reconciliation of the account. But with finance operation, it's a weekly one. So it's quite a hectic work because you are always constantly into working for the payment runs, which are very important, and reconciliation. It's a more, let's say, it's a fast environment a little bit, and very important.
Okay. So you recently joined the team. Do you have any OKRs, or are you working towards like setting KPIs, and generally speaking, how do you define the success of your team?
Yeah, I recently joined, so we are, I believe the strength of the team is actually the people. So, and I have an excellent team, and I'm so happy that I joined them. And I think we are working towards improving some things, but I think as everyone is doing all the time. So as I said, for us, accountant, accuracy is number one. The information that we provide and the booking that we do is accurate. And we also need to be efficient. So we need to do, as I said, we have a timeline. It's very tight timelines that we have. So we have to book everything. We have to prepare the payment runs, and also adaptable, because sometimes we need to change the way of work. So we don't work in a box all the time. And also that's a process. And that's also one of the KPIs. But by doing that, if you want to improve all of that, you have to improve processes. So we are trying to do that on the side. And the KPIs that we have at the OKRs are interlinked between the recurring duties that we have and where we want to go for 2023. But let's take one step at a time. Yeah, that's how the good things are done.
You mentioned before that finance operations sitting at the core part of a company. So I guess some of your stakeholders are accounting, then you have probably supply chain, then you have sales. How do you see the collaboration evolving in the future? Do you think that it's just these functions are just gonna get closer, or it's more in the communication between them?
We have very good communication with all of the other departments. I mean, we have to, because in order to validate all the invoices that we have, we need to make sure that what it has ordered, what we have received, and it has been approved. We have systems about it, so it's in the system, but we also have a human relationship. Yeah, I think it works very smooth and very good, and all of us are on the same pace and on the same page as well. So I'm quite happy on that. Also, so for the supply chain and also for the sales team regarding the revenues, it's very cooperative. We have the information. So everyone has tried, I joined recently, so it's a huge work done beforehand, but it's done a very good thing in processes. So to have everything, to report everything correctly.
Okay. Like you mentioned, you're focusing mainly on AP and AR. Like, what is the most critical part on your side? Like, where you really want to dig into them?
I think the dunning process and the AP and AR aging report, that's always the most critical thing that we have. You can book everything accurately, and you can prepare payment runs and everything, but you need to have also historical data very clean, and also you need to get the cash in. So that's, I think, it's for every AP and AR department, that's the most challenging part, that we are definitely working towards that.
Okay. So getting aging right, DSO right, and all these sort of things.
Basically, cleaning old suppliers and getting old customer money back. And I actually, before getting the money, understanding why we are in this situation and discussing with the customers and everything, and see where the issue is, because sometimes it's not an issue of no payment, but it can be also a process or a systematic issue, like the invoice was never delivered, the small things that you need to get to the end. But I think that's the most challenging thing.
Okay. So in the last couple of months, but if we consider also the pandemic period, like a lot of things changed. Companies got restructured, like priorities get shifted. What is your plan for 2023? What do you plan to focus on?
So we plan to focus on processes. So we need, and I think that's the good way to move forward, less manual work, more processes in place, more accuracy, more efficiency at the same time. So also the team has more time to do more quality work, such as a planning process, shifting. It's also, when you think about Infarm, and a little bit as an ex-Infarmer, it's a very complex, amazing company. From the accounting perspective, talking as an accounting nerd a little bit, it's very exciting and challenging, because you have research and development, you have purchases, you have production, and then you have sales. And everything of that needs to be combined into an accounting, and you need to account and book it, which is challenging on one side, but also very, very exciting, and you have opportunities to expand your knowledge on the other side. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, the operation there, they're quite complex. Working in multiple countries, having R&D and actually producing food is...
Yeah, it's
not just software.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. You mentioned dunning a couple of times and getting the data right. Speaking with other financial professionals, usually it's something that they forget. So I'm curious, how do you plan to, what are one or two things that you want to get right? Is this implementing software, or just getting the process right, or saying, okay, we want to achieve, I don't know, the 30 days DSO, or like we really want to reduce the number of overdue invoices after 60 days. Like, what are the things that people should really look for?
Well, I think the biggest program, when you look about the planning process and everything, if you have an ERP or a system in place, then everything becomes easier. Then it's a management decision on how many days you want the invoice to be paid and how you want to follow up that. But I think that's the things you mentioned, that's the way forward on how to achieve that.
Okay. And the other thing you mentioned is you want to reduce the amount of manual work for your team to help them spending probably on higher value tasks. Like, do you also have a plan for this, or like, how should people approach this? Because many times you talk with finance professional, again, it's I don't know, it's just a matter of papers, or maybe it's just a matter of spreadsheet. Like, what is like you're guiding through in this case? Like, do you have any compass that you follow?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes. So you mentioned that you plan to reduce the amount of manual work for your team, which I guess could be something related to digitalization. Do you have any plan for this, like a North Star that, in 1 year and 2 years, we would like to get there?
We sometimes talk about this, the North Star is to have a continuous accounting. So you are all the time, you are ready and everything is booked. And the way towards it is through digitalization, of course, and implementation of softwares and ERPs that you will have in place. The team has done a very good job so far as well, with everything which is possible, like spreadsheets and checklists and reconciliation files that make sure the data is accurate. But the North Star, you have to dream big, right?
Yeah. It's probably one of the first time I heard this term of continuous accounting. Like, what is the goal to do? Like, to basically reconcile transactions at the same time, like as soon as they get inside your bank account. Okay. Exactly.
So continuous accounting is that you have everything reconciled all the time. And that's, of course, for big corporation, but it's a dream and it's a future. So you have everything booked, everything reconciled, everything. So every moment in time, you have a month-end close ready, basically.
Okay. So there's no need for wait like 10 or 20 days to close your books. Okay.
Exactly.
Interesting. So let's say that you are a finance manager, or you want to grow, you want to become a head of finance operation. Like, do you have any suggestion for people aspiring to become one, or like, how should people prepare their career for this?
Well, I think that the best, on a personal level, I think that people need to do, in order for you to be a good head, you have to have done everything before. So you need to have done the AR, the AP, the accounting, the group accounting manager, because those are knowledges and skills that you take with you when you become head of. And that's on a personal scale, and of course a lot of work and motivation. And the second one, which is very important, you have to take care of your team, because from what I've seen in my career is that the difference is done by the people. If you have good, motivated, skilled, professional people that you work with, then you have a winning team. And when you have a winning team, then you have a winning company. That's where, you can have all the processes in place, but if you don't have the people, it doesn't make the difference. So I think the people make the difference, and then you really have to take care of your team.
I was reading an article from, I don't know if it was from PwC, about how people in finance are changing, and it's pretty hard for them to hire people, because finance people, they want to do different stuff now. So I don't know if it's something that you see also on your side, like.
Yeah, I think I also read the study where it says that good growth economical times lead to people prefer different study fields than accounting or finance. And then when you have an economic crisis or a recession, then people tend to go back to more secure jobs as in finance. I think it's a cycle. I think it goes, it goes. It's a trend, I think, like in everything else in life. And I hope that accounting and finance become cool and trend again. Why not?
So you've been in finance from different perspectives, like from the outside, try to help companies with their finance things, and also from the inside, actually running teams. What are like the skills that ideally you would like to see in people joining your team?
Beside the professional skills, I mean, besides actually knowing the accounting and the job, I think when you work in startups, you need to be adaptable and a little bit flexible. Because it's not everything it's set in stone, and people don't work in a box like they work in big corporate. So I think that's what you actually need, and also you need to be eager to do new things and to go the extra mile. Because that's also important, and also it's like an accelerator working in startup, especially scale-up startups. You learn things that normally in corporate you have to learn in 3 to 5 years. You can learn them in 1 year because it's a different kind of environment. So yeah.
Okay. So another thing I was reading the other day is about the importance of managing your cash flow correctly and cash right. I mean, we're talking about this with Dunning. Do you have any suggestion for head of finance or finance manager of companies like smaller size of Infarm, like things that they should really prioritize during the next, 6 months, 9 months?
On the cash management depends on the company. Some of the companies, they have treasury managers, which is also a winning way to plan and to do the cash management. They have tools where they interlink the bank with accounting software, so the planning and the integration, it's better, like Kariba or other kind of softwares. It depends what works best. I think the best way to do it is first to learn the company and to have accurate data, like where you expect to go and where you expect to have the expenses, so you can also plan the cash management in a proper way. So I think it's interlinked with more things like purchase orders, good communication with other departments within the company.
You mentioned this concept a couple of times, like having the data right is fundamental. And before you also mentioned continuous accounting, like what is the perfect word for having the data right? Like having a single dashboard where you can see, I don't know, ERP style, all your invoices incoming, all your outgoing invoices, and have a single overview on, okay, in a week, this is the amount cash in, cash out. Is this the kind of overview?
I think the ERP, it's, that's a tool everyone needs. That's the tool. I think it's one of the best one because everything is interlinked. You have everything in there. You have the supply chain, you have the sales, you have inventory, you have accounting, of course. Also treasury can be interlinked, and then you can also see and manage within one system that everything it is in there, and then you can take also the management decision based on that. Because I think the reason I keep mentioning accuracy is that business decision and management decision are taken based on the accounting information that we provide. So this is why I think for accounting, this is the A of the information that we provide. If you have that everything in one platform, that's going to make your life easier.
Okay. Can you recall any, like, what happens if you have incorrect data? Like, then you build a company on wrong assumptions, or you do budgeting wrong?
Well, I can go back in my previous hat where we were actually trying to help startups. And then what we realized very soon was that they really needed a good system to plan, especially financial advice, because they did all their planning and budgeting wrong. So they didn't take into consideration the cost. They kept out like 30% of the cost. So then they failed. They couldn't survive after the first year. And that was, I mean, you can really tell them the more early stage they are, and they took the management decision based on that business plan, which was not based on accurate data. So then the idea was brilliant, but it didn't work out. So, yeah.
So that's really interesting. It's like is lack of knowledge, maybe a naive approach to numbers?
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's different. You can be, because then we go into another discussion. You can be a very good entrepreneurial. You can have a great idea. You can have the skills, but you need the team. You need someone who has a financial background and know how to get the data, because sometimes you think you can do everything by yourself, and that's when you also fail. I mean, you can have a good pitch, you can get some investor investing in, but I mean, if the data is not right and if the planning you did is wrong, then most probably you can't cover your cost, and then you fail, which what happens to most of the startups. And I don't think they do it in a bad faith. It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is changing right now? I see a lot of people or a lot of startups, they're focusing on FP&A, try to get the number right. And
yeah. I think it is. I also think, and different level of startups, I think the knowledge right now out there is bigger, and also you have a lot of incubators, accelerators that help startups and give them the knowledge. So if you compare it with 10 years back and now, the situation is way more different. You have more opportunities now. You need to have the willingness, and I think the knowledge is there, and there are mentors and tutors that are willing to help you to go towards that. And then this is why people are also investing more on the FP&A and a proper budget planning and controlling.
Makes sense. Okay, Ina, it's time to wrap up. Are you ready for a quick fire round of questions?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. What is the best piece of career advice that you have received?
Yeah. Actually, I had a boss. He was a Danish one working at the European Commission back then. He told me you should never settle. It was interesting. He said you should believe the sparkle in your eyes, and if this is not enough for you, then it's not enough. You should move ahead. And I think it sticks with me. So yeah. That one, you should never settle. And of course, everything comes with a lot of work and dedication. But when you have that, you should never settle.
Good one. What book would you recommend to our audience?
I think it's a little bit outside finance, but it's a very interesting book. How it's more on the development side. How rich countries become richer and poor countries become poorer. Okay. It's an interesting approach to development aid, and it's worth it. Okay. The more I read it, the better it is. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a background in development aid? It's something that you studied?
No, actually, my background is purely accounting and audit, and also CCA. But I work in development aid for 7-8 years. Developing programs for small and medium enterprises, so that was the purpose. So I think you got an interest in that.
Okay. So what's your main passion outside of work?
What's that?
What is your main passion outside of work?
I really like sports.
Okay.
So yeah, and I really do sports in nature. Yeah, I'm not that good at running though, even though that doesn't make sense. But yeah, I'm good at the other stuff.
Nice. Where do you plan to travel this year?
Oh well, I'm going to Spain. That's my summer vacation. That's as far as I have gone so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
South, north, or?
On Costa Brava, which is like the north of Barcelona.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good
like
place.
The Adrian Sea.
Yeah. If you could travel back, what is the advice that you would give to yourself?
Well, that's a difficult one, right? Yeah. Keep working.
Keep working.
It's all worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if people want to find out more about Infarm, they can check the website, infarm.com. And if people want to get in touch with you, Ina, what's the best way?
Well, they can get in touch with me through LinkedIn, ina.murthi. And everything is there. Everyone can reach me and I can get back to them.
Okay, great. So I'm going to share your LinkedIn profile in the show notes. And, thank you for joining me today. It was a pleasure. Wishing you the best.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. It was actually very lovely, as promised.
Cheers.
Cheers.